Hi all, Namaste, Namaskara. Today I'm here to talk about the movie called Sue from Soup. I watched this movie in Kannada, but this movie is releasing in Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, and Hindi. So it had Raj Shetty, so he's pretty famous in Karnataka. So I was like, okay, will he be the main lead? Or I even thought he will be the director of the movie. I did go watch the movie without any reviews, or I didn't hear or see the reviews. What I know, this movie was doing fantastic, so that's why it's getting, it's doing so well that it's getting remade or sorry, dubbed in other languages. So to my surprise, he was not the director, which I got to know at the end when they show the display cards and who's the director producer, but he is one of the producers, and he is not even the main lead. uh, he has a role. I mean, he has an impactful role, of course, but in this movie no one is lead. There are so many characters, each so unique, and they have done so brilliantly. I actually felt that I have stepped into that world, or I am living in that village. So it's a village setup. It's a typical coastal village, or it's a typical Mangalore Udupi, that village story. It's been like I have a little touch with that side of the town, so I could actually feel, yes, this is what happens. I have heard stories from people who are there of my parents. This is what typically happens. This is how things are. So I think if you are from that side of the world, that part of the world, this movie, it's gonna be your neighbor story, or it's gonna be your family story. It's gonna be someone's story. And the genre tells it's a horror thriller, but I wouldn't say it's a horror. The typical ghost we see in the Indian movies, where woman is wearing a white sari with the long hair. You can see it in first half. That's the opening scene, and in the second half you can kind of see in one scene. So otherwise, it's not horror for me. At least it was not horror for me. It was more of a thriller genre. Not even thriller, I would say it's more of a comical side. It was more eye opening, or it was more provocative. Provocative. It was eye opener, I would say. It's more on an educational side. They don't believe in ghosts. Like, there is no ghost in the movie. Let me tell you that there is no ghost. So yeah, and then the movie like goes on to tell how they have a misunderstanding, and that fellow, to come out, he did a bad deed, he's a pervert. To come out of that deed, he tells that a ghost has entered him, and he tries to continue that. So Raj B Shetty comes as a Swamiji to take the spirit out of his body, and then he's like, I'm all right, but then whenever he's walking, something happens, and people are like, no, he has ghost, he has spirit, it's a problem. And then he tells, he's a huge Upendra's fans, so he tells, I'm Kalpana, and some of people hear it as Sulochana. And then they ask, where is your god, like the Mane Devru, or like home god is there, and they tell some name like Someshwar or something. So it's like, oh, it's Sulochana from Someshwar. So that's how it's Su from So, and this is told by Raj Shetty, like, oh, it's Sulochana from Someshwar, that's why it's Su from So, and it's so comical from there. And then they try to find the actual Sulochana is who is dead, and all those things happen. And should I say the ending? Wow, wow, wow. Kisses, kisses, kisses. It's how do I tell? The ending is so powerful. You're like, that should happen. It should happen like this. And when the fight scene happens, you're like, trash him, trash him. You're like that. I would say it's a bit on the women's side, as in they show what happens to women, and I don't want to spoil it. It's still good. I ending was so satisfying, and I was so satisfied because they didn't show that there was actually a ghost. Wow. Just because of the ending, the whole movie is a good for me. I mean, It's good. I mean, it's has very emotional. In the second half, the story turns out to be a very emotional. Of they do find Surochana, and like her, they find her daughter Surochana is dead. So I mean, it's somehow, mother is always a mother, and how we children are so dependent on our mothers. That's shown in this movie so beautifully. Even now, I mean, anything happens, we don't know what to do, or we just want some comfort. We just go to our mothers and tell them, or do this. They are just our comfort source, and they're like, we are always dependent. How much ever we grow old, we are always so dependent on that. So, this movie just emphasizes on that fact. And again, ending is so powerful. It's such a good ending, and it made my it made me so happy. So the movie is very comical. It's a slapstick comedy, and if you enjoy someone who loves comedy and like laughing, who laughs on the slapstick comedy jokes, yes, it's nice. And I did feel it as a bit of a Kantara, because Kantara is also the story from the same world. The story is not similar to Kantara, let me tell you. It's just, the celebrations or showing of the village, how they celebrate. It's, I would say maybe the costumes or the accent, maybe like that. But otherwise, it's a brand new story which is set in a town, and the acting of everyone is so good. You will love it. Each and every character is unique, and they have a point in this movie, and you will fall in love with Ravi Anna. If you see the movie, you will know who is Ravi Anna. Okay, then that's all for now. Okay, before leaving, let me tell you, this was a kind of an actual story. In the end, they showed the newspaper cut out from any paper. So this was kind of an actual story. Maybe they have taken inspiration from the story. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay then. Until next time. Bye bye. Namaskara. Namaste.